What's up, everybody? I am Baron Baptiste, and this is the show for disrupting the drift, disrupting the conspiracy for mediocrity in humanity. Man, we live in a world where people have defaulted, were people born in some kind of default away from their true essence, their true source, their creator, or is that something we're born with, a connection in reality, and as we go along in life, we disconnect and we default into the lower kind of levels of existence, judgment, resentment, all the things that kind of undermine and sabotage what's possible in life and for living. This is a place where the truth can be told and where we can tell the truth. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to this channel so you get notified when we drop a new episode. Share this show. Please share the show. It's how we get this word out, pay it forward. Leave a 5-star review of the show. We appreciate that. And if you're on YouTube, like the show. That helps push it out. And send questions to disruptingthedrift@baronbaptiste.com. Many of these episodes, these podcasts, will be posted on YouTube as well, once or twice a week. So if you want to get the visual experience of it, come check us out on YouTube, Baron Baptiste YouTube. I'm here with my good friend, David Masters. David, how are you, my friend? How's it going?
Fantastique.
Fantastico?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. What's new?
Every day is new. Every moment, every second of every thought, even though the thoughts may seem the same, they're all new. And even though they may seem old, they're here in this now moment. And this is the reason why we can literally change everything, because we can have brand new thoughts that are not based on old ideas every single second of every day.
Yeah, very good. Well, like I just said, this is a place where truth can be told. And I really get that. Every moment, the arising moment, the possibility, the potential of each arising moment, new moment to moment. Life is new, and a new opportunity, a new possibility to live into truth, to live into potential.
Amen.
Very good. Well, we have a question here. And this person sent a nice just intro. I'll read the intro and then into the question. How about that? So let's get right into it. Hi, Baron and David. Really grateful for you too and your shares. I really have struggled with group forums via technology, i.e. Zoom, etc. And luckily, I do gain much from your podcast, and the synergy of both your experiences, beliefs, and shares is a source of both inspiration and a tool I employ to self-check, in quotes. Your podcast has been a lifeline coming out of isolation of COVID for this lone wolf. I consider myself a mystic. Eastern traditions, Western traditions, all traditions. I am open to all. So my question is more of a philosophical one. And then she brings a question. And I want to acknowledge, I too have respect for all religions. And I don't know about all traditions. I don't necessarily relate to them, just like I don't necessarily relate personally or feel personally connected to all traditions. But I certainly can appreciate a lot of aspects of a lot of them. And so let's get right into the question here. What, in your experience, is the difference between soul and spirit, if any? What, in your experience, is the difference between soul and spirit, if any? What do you say, David?
Well,
it's a deep question. Yeah,
yes,
it's a good question.
See, I think, and from my understanding, of my entire life, asking the same question, essentially, soul is absolutely singular and unique to humans. And I don't think any other life form on our planet has a soul. And I believe that that soul is installed in everybody by the Creator. Spirit, on the other hand, dogs have a spirit, crabs have a spirit. It's called animus, and that's non-human spirit. So I think there's a big difference, and I don't think that people understand when we talk about spirit. There's also different kinds of spirits. There's spirits above and spirits below, and I think the danger of spirit as opposed to soul is that soul is installed in us by our Creator, by God, and spirit exists as a form of energy that inhabits various kinds of life forms, and including the dark side. And so, what we have to be very, 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 very careful about when this wonderful person says that or whoever it is a mystic, that mystic quality can sometimes go very sideways because you have to be able to perceive and differentiate the different kinds of spiritual forces that you're dealing with. That's kind of my short answer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very good. You know, yeah, I get all that. And then I have a different take on it, but I also, as you're speaking, and I'm listening to you, I don't know if it's a matter of semantics, like a different kind of way of kind of not dissecting, but maybe defining these words like soul and spirit and what they connect to. But here's my take, a little different than yours. A soul to me would be, well, let me back up. So we have a body. Human beings have a body. Animals have a body. So there's the body, like the creature. And then I would say that, and I'm not basing this on any one kind of faith or dogma or anything. So this is just my take, just from a common sense kind of place. So the body, we all have a body, right? And the body is like the vehicle that carries something. It carries, we could say, the soul. It's the container or the vehicle for soul, and then could say spirit. And then the soul, we have a soul, and I would correlate the soul more to ego. The ego is made up of personality and it's made up of identity, but the soul, well, it's almost like the persona, the different unique characteristics of each of us, each human being. Different because, like, David, you're different than I am, in just our characteristics. And I'm not speaking physically of physical things, because physically we're different, but in a lot of ways, all of us, we have 2 arms, 2 legs, a heart, and a brain. And so there's similarities there, but then there's the differences physically. And similarly to me, like a soul is like the personality, certain characteristics, certain leanings, whether you're different kind of, the uniqueness, could say, that comes through in a soul. Then, and I'd say animals have a soul. An animal, like my dog, Otis, I've seen him angry. He's a fighter. He'll fight other dogs. He's a protector. I've seen him angry. I've seen him fearful. I've seen him more, affinity. He has an affinity, he'll connect to you or connect to his brothers, his other dogs, brothers that he had. They'll cuddle and they'll lick each other's ears. But I see these kind of, in his soul, these kind of personality characteristics. Like Otis has a unique characteristics and personality than his other 2 little bulldog brothers. So there's a certain soul quality there that I would say that also includes kind of these emotions and like that. But then what differentiates animals from humans, I would lean toward its spirit. So spirit, the soul can be a container through which spirit comes through, as is the body, but the spirit of a human being, I don't know that animals have the spirit and the access to the spiritual in the same way that humans do, because as you were pointing to earlier, David, it's like you have to watch out these spiritual forces at work. There's positive or life affirming, spiritual kind of the light, the truth, grace, providence. There's these higher spiritual qualities that can come through a higher spiritual intelligence, but then there's also a lower spiritual realm, like below the line, that operates from darkness and evil. And it's a spiritual realm, but then each of us has connection to that spiritual realm. But I would say this, at what makes a human being distinct from an animal also is we're born with the spirit that can connect to God. We're born with the spirit that can connect to source and creator. I don't know that animals have that access. I'm saying a bunch of things here, but how does that kind of land for you? And
Well,
you can totally disagree totally disagree or see
I think
how you see it.
I think we're essentially on the same page on this. But again, I was talking to somebody the other day about Bill Clinton saying it all depends upon what is. So you can actually come down to a very, very fine or defining word that that differentiates. That was mine. So let me read to you the idea of soul from the dictionary, and I think this is an important differentiation. And that is, the soul is the spiritual essence of a person, which includes one's identity, personality, and memories, that is believed to be able to survive physical death. Now, boom, right there. See, my dog, I have a 80-pound Doberman, and he has dreams. I mean, he has dreams. His brain is
and his
active.
Body vibrates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, animals have an intelligence, but the other side of this equation is that as humans, we tend to anthropomorphize, which means we project our human qualities into all these other things. And so I don't know, because I've heard that people in near-death experiences, they see their favorite family pet and all the rest of it. Do pets go to heaven? Maybe. Do pets go to hell? I don't know. I've never really thought of that question before. But you see, with the idea that the soul is the spiritual essence of a person, which includes the identity, personality, and memories, that is believed to be able to survive physical death, that's the distinction for me of soul. Because I believe that there is spirit in everything. As a matter of fact, I think that, and I was talking again about this recently, the ghosts of Gettysburg, and there's documented evidence that there are ghosts of the fallen at Gettysburg, and they have been videotaped. Now, how do you get that kind of ethereal thing going on? Now, and I don't know if that's true of animals either. Maybe there are animals that have ghost incarnations. I know that there's a show on TV called The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And what are skinwalkers? They're spiritual manifestations of, apparently there were the Apaches and the Navajo were fighting, and they murdered one of the leaders of the Apache tribe. I don't remember what it is exactly, and before he died, he cursed their land. So now there are these things called skinwalkers, which are ghosts, basically, that manifest in the form of wolves and all kinds of strange creatures. But you see, this is the thing, is that soul and spirit, I do believe, are very distinctly separate. I think they're mutually exclusive. Now, as you said, I believe that the soul can be a container for spirit, and I think the soul is a container for spirit. Now the question is, what spirit is that? What spirit? And I think last time we talked about this question of, I believe that I'm an instrument. And so if I'm a guitar or a piano, in the hands of the right guitarist, the instrument makes beautiful sound. It makes beautiful music. In the wrong hands, it sounds like crap. So then the question is, what spirit is strumming your instrument? That's the question. Because your soul is there, and now you can have a spirit inhabiting, in commingling with your soul.
Yeah, no, very good. It brings up to the light for me the realms of the spiritual. So, like animals, you don't see them doing the dark, evil, wicked things that a human being can do.
Yeah.
Animals kill to survive or to protect, like that. But you don't see, there's no mass shootings, or they don't necessarily, I mean, maybe, you get an animal that goes haywire once in a while, but it's very unnatural. But, you see human beings just murdering for no reason, pillaging, just for power, this whole kind of power thing in the animal world. Power has a purpose. If it's overseeing the herd, or being the head of the whatever, the alpha, and like that. But in human beings, you see the levels of depths of depravity that human beings sink into, that just doesn't exist with animals. But then also on the flip side, the realms of uh, creative power that human beings have, the ability to create and build, and be builders of great thought and plan, like the kind of inspiration, whether it's a great art or great uh, building empires, or building the kind of innovation that can come through human beings. Okay, there's the side of it though that's spiritual, that is unique to human beings, that that goes beyond just rational, logical kind of thinking. There's something spiritual, the ability to envision something, the ability to imagine something, and then actually create it, build it, make it real. But very different than animals, but human beings have this vertical scale of going up or going down into the depths of darkness, or the heights of light, where animals operate more on a horizontal plane. And I wonder where in there, like you say, okay, everything has a spirit. I get that. I totally get that. But I wonder about soul. Does everything have a soul?
No, I don't think so. No. As a matter of fact, because you see, soul is relative to purpose. And so if everything then has an equal value in this world to a human being, then it would be rational to say, well, everything then must have a soul. But I do not believe that all things are equal. I think that humans are at the highest level of the scale of value, because look at what humans do. Have you ever seen an animal, drive a car? Yes, you can train an animal to do certain things, but we have rational capabilities. We have creative capabilities. I mean, if you think about all of the things, I was just contemplating this today,
Mm.
the amazing things that human beings have brought forth, the inventions, the structures, the civilizations that have come into existence as a result of the human thought. It is unquantifiable how many amazing things that human beings have done. Animals, on the other hand, have a tendency to be like clones. One comes into the world, and you were making the point that you and I, we are different, and yet we have similar attributes and qualities and thoughts and beliefs, but we are still different in our individuality.
Mm.
Animals are just clones. A chicken is a chicken is a chicken, a dog is a dog, a possum is a possum. It just goes on. And those are self-replicating clones that come into the world, and they fill in their space. They're in the natural world. Now we're dealing with the supernatural world. And we
Mm.
go beyond the natural world into the supernatural world, in which human beings, and this is an interesting area of consideration, which is that the Bible actually says that humans who are in alignment with their creator are actually higher than angels. By the way, I will say that I've read stories where a dog will somehow rescue somebody from a situation. Let's just say somebody's walking down the street and there's a mugger that's going to mug them, and all of a sudden a white dog shows up out of nowhere and walks by that person's side until they're home.
Mm.
So I don't know these, and so I started looking up the word animus because
Mm.
I have often thought of animus as being the energy of animals, and so with regard to entries in this particular journal about animus, it says inform all or part of animeo, and then it says animal, animalistic, animate, animation. So there's that component of the energy, but then there's this very interesting part of it. It is hypothetical source of or evidence for existence, and the anity means breathe.
Mm.
So there's a breath. See, then all the creatures that breathe all have breath. They have lungs, and they have features that allow them to function in the natural world. But that doesn't make us the same. And here's a little bit more of this.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
In the Greek, animos means wind, and in the
Mm.
Latin, animus, rational soul, mind, life, mental powers, consciousness, sensibility, courage, desire. Anima, living being, soul, mind, disposition, passion, courage, spirit, anger, feeling. So you see how there's just in this one little word of animus, there are definitions, there are many branches of levels of things that we can look at and consider as to what is the difference between soul and spirit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a question for you around this.
Yes.
This is some deep stuff,
Yeah.
and it's also concept. So, where does it land? Like, what? How can I best ask this question? What I want to ask is that how does this? Why does this have any meaning in our daily life? What is the knowledge of this? Soul, spirit. What difference can it make in our day-to-day, moment to moment, real moment living as we're living in our lives? What kind of difference? So like bringing it down now to earth, down to earth level, like feet on the ground, boots on the ground. What difference does this kind of introspection or wonderment provide?
It's a great question for so many reasons.
Mm.
But to me, defining things, defining what is important. And there's
Mm-hmm.
distinctions that have to be made, right? In other words, people will go, let's just talk about food for a minute. People will go, and when you get in the big grocery store, you've got all these things yelling at you. The shelves are yelling at you. And if you go down the shelf with the sweets, you can smell the sweets. It's like heroin. It
Mm-hmm.
smells so good. All these things are pulling at us from that outside world. Okay.
Yeah.
All these things are trying to
They're pulling.
attract us.
They're pulling at. Let me just throw this in. They're
Yeah.
pulling at the creature. I'd
Yes.
say the creature,
Yeah.
the body, the persona, the ego, and they're also pulling at a sick spirit, like a sick, an ill or sick spirit, because there's a sick spirit that pulls on things that it feeds on, that it lives off of
Yeah.
to keep sick.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
healthy spirit, a whole, complete, nothing lacking spirit pulls on different kinds of things, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the
Yeah.
second part of this because
Oh, okay.
so you go into the grocery store and see in 2000 at the end of 2011 I found out I'm a type 2 diabetic. So what I did was I went absolutely cold turkey on all carbohydrates, and I went to sort of a meat and a vegetable diet. In 12 weeks I lost 30 pounds, and I pretty much kept it off since then. That's 12 years now.
Mm.
My health has been better, but what happens is my senses
Did your
immediately became
diabetes did your diabetes go into
No, no,
Remission? No.
no,
Okay.
no.
Yeah. But okay, keep going.
It's something wrong
Yeah.
with the way that my body processes sugar, which is fine
Yeah.
because I really don't need it.
Yeah.
But what
Mm,
I discovered is that my senses immediately were heightened. And
yeah.
then, see, before, when I went into a store, I would be subconsciously attracted to the sugar aisle and the potato chips
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
canned foods because it's
Yeah.
all comfort food, right? But
Yeah.
so as I went in there and I smell this sweet heroin, then I would continue past that aisle over to the live food, the fruits and vegetables and all the rest of it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the way I've lived ever since then. But when we make these distinctions, see, before we are aware, and this is to answer your question, before we are aware of distinctions, those distinctions don't matter to us. They don't mean anything to us. But all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, you begin to reconsider through beginning to understand and make these distinctions between spirit and soul. Everything that is in a grocery store also can have a spirit attached to it, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
a spirit of awakening, right? Or a spirit of comfort that actually leads you down a sweet but slow death. And this is why America has so many diabetics. I mean, diabetes is the pandemic of our coming future. Um, but the distinctions are so important because and the other part of it is the idea that there's an eternal self that lives within us. And I believe that the soul is from an eternal source that eventually will either return to that source or go to another eternal place.
Mm.
And so every little distinction that we make about difference between soul and spirit, and then the
Mm.
question goes, well, what is feeding my soul and what is feeding the spirit that I'm dealing with in me? Because spirit can
Mm.
be the spirit of enjoyment of life itself. You can have a free spirit or you can have a heavy spirit. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can have a healthy spirit that's
Right.
attracted and attracts healthy people,
Yeah.
things, an appetite for healthy things, or yeah, a sick spirit or a broken spirit, if
Yeah.
there's such a thing. Maybe that's more of a metaphor, but I think there's something that very much so. And if you're looking from awareness, self-awareness, awareness and some inner still point, you start seeing, well, wait, are some of the things that I'm just by default attracted to or that are attracted to me, people, things, food, types of entertainment or social media, types of narratives, types of gossip or conversations that are elevating, uplifting, and bridging a gap from where you are to where you want to go. If you have self-awareness, you start saying, well, wait, what spirit am I feeding? That American Indian, kind of saying there, within us are two wolves. One
Yes.
represents the evil and the dark, and the other represents the light and a higher character that, and whichever wolf you feed, you strengthen.
Yeah. Whichever
And
one you
I
feed
think,
is the one that grows.
yeah, yeah, you're
Right?
nourishing that one.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
And
here's another
so,
word
yeah,
I want to throw out
mm-hmm,
at you
yeah,
because
yeah,
see, we're both tracking in the same perfect direction. I remember hearing in a movie a saying, and I don't remember which movie it was. I think it may have been The Lord of the Rings. And the saying was, he is a trickster in true form.
mm,
Trickster. So this word comes to me in this conversation because when you say you're a mystic and you say that you take in all the different religions and you're open to all these ideas, and by the way, I have been my whole life. My dad had a
mm,
library of 10,000 books,
mm,
every single book on spirituality that you can imagine. And there is some
yeah,
truth in every one of those books. But here's the danger. The
mm,
danger is that there are tricksters in true form. And here's the
yeah,
meaning of the word trickster. In mythology and the study of folklore and religion, a trickster is a character in a story who exhibits a great degree of intelligent and secret knowledge and uses it to play tricks or otherwise disobey normal rules and defy conventional behavior.
oh
And you
yeah,
see, this
yeah,
is the danger of being open to a lot of different
yeah,
things.
yeah. Being open is not necessarily. You want to. I think it's open, undefended,
Yeah.
but standing in your center of truth,
Yes. Yes.
standing in the center of truth.
Right. Now the truth.
because
Now the truth is
to
the
be able to,
antidote for the
yeah,
trickster. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You'll smell
Yes.
it. You'll see like
Yes.
everything on the surface. It
Yeah.
may sound right. It may, look right. It may even feel right.
Well, I'll tell you one more
Behind
thing.
the curtain, there is something dark lurking, right? It's
And
like that.
sometimes the more it feels right, the more it smells right.
Mm.
In other words, when you go down that sugar aisle, you can smell that sugar. They know you can smell that sugar. When you
Feels
go
so
past a fast
right
food
now.
place, you can smell the grease. I was somewhere the other day. I said, God, that smells good. I want to go get a hamburger right
That
now.
would feel so
It would
good, right?
feel good.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
smells good.
Yeah,
The
and you
question
deny
is it
those
good for you?
feelings,
Yes.
yeah, because
Yeah.
some inner compass, your true north, says,
Yeah.
nope, nope, not today, not today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what you can afford to do without, you are wealthy.
That is right.
Wealth and well-being and health, yeah. All right, very good, my friend. You all, thank you. We'll wrap up here, David, and always good to be with you. And everyone, please share the show if you got some kind of value and insight. I enjoyed this conversation today. A
It
little
was
different,
great. It was just
different
great.
flow, man. We are waxing philosophical and
Yeah.
getting spiritual and soulful, and I like it. And kind of different than our usual kind of boots on the ground, looking at life in real ways, and looking at ourselves in real ways. So this is real, though. If you can bring, heaven down to earth, right, and you bring the conceptual into the real, and it has the capacity to, not only bring you into reality, but then transform reality.
Yes.
So, all right, everyone.
Make a
Thank
different
you.
reality for yours.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
very
you and
good.
yourself.
Send
Yeah.
your questions to disruptingthedrift@baronbaptiste.com. And you all stay blessed. And until next time, be well.